Good evening. This is the regular session of Athens City Council for May 4th, 2026. And before we officially begin this evening, I'd like to offer a brief civic welcome. The purpose of this meeting is for government officials and members of the public to come together in the service of the people, planet, and prosperity of our community, reflecting our shared vision of Athens as a welcoming, forward-thinking city that honors its college town roots while growing sustainably. Members of the public sometimes ask how council's work connects to our community's values and priorities, so I'd like to note that tonight's agenda includes several items that reflect that shared purpose, including support for new housing opportunities, clean transportation infrastructure, such as electric vehicle charging stations, parks and recreation improvements, and continued investments in essential public systems like water, sewer, and public safety infrastructure. Together, these efforts help strengthen our community, steward public resources responsibly, and support a healthy, sustainable future for Athens. Our first item of business is to establish quorum. We have 6 of 7 council members here, so we do have quorum. And I'd next like to move us to approval of the agenda. Do we have any proposed amendments to the agenda this evening? Seeing none.
I will have an amendment later.
Member Clodfelder, would you like to offer a motion to amend the agenda at this point?
No.
Later. All right, great. Then how about a motion to approve the agenda as is?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right. Any discussion? All in favor of approving the agenda, please indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. The agenda has been approved unanimously. Next, we have the disposition of the minutes. May I have a motion to approve the minutes for our regular session held on April 20th, 2026?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the minutes? Seeing none, all in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. The minutes from the April 20th session have been unanimously approved. Next, we move on to communications and reports. Do we have any communications or reports from council members? Member Swink? Or would you like to?
She beat me.
Member Thomas?
I just have one, just a reminder again that the Community Relations Commission has an open seat. So if anyone was interested in joining that commission, they can reach out through the website and fill out the paperwork.
Thank you, Member Thomas. Do we have other communications? Member Swink?
I have a couple here. One very, very positive one, and I'll just read a portion of it. As everyone knows, NOPEC is our gas aggregation supplier for the city of Athens, and we received in the last 10 days an email from the executive director of NOPEC, and I'll read the first couple paragraphs. And it's addressed to the mayor, but somehow it ended up in my inbox too. It says, Dear Steve Patterson, I wanted to share with you, your residents and small businesses, good news about our summer-fall 2026 natural gas pricing. This isn't what you buy at Super America. This is what you comes and pipe into your house. I am pleased to announce that our standard program price for Columbia Gas of Ohio customers will be decreasing from 0.719 cents per CCF to 0.635 per CCF, which I've done the math on that is a 13.2% decrease in the gas that we'll be buying. Beginning in June and running through December. For those customers who prefer even longer periods of predictable pricing, we will be lowering our fixed-term product prices as well. The new pricing for those options will be for 12 months, 0.645, and for 24 months, 0.625. These prices are in line and largely below what is currently being offered on the Apples to Apples shopping website. The beauty of this, even if you do sign up for a 12 or a 24-month period, should the NOPEC rates go down even further, you can switch without fee or cost. So 13.2% decrease starting in June for those who are NOPEC aggregation customers, and that will extend through December, and we'll have new pricing at that time. Hopefully it continues to go down. The second piece of communication I received this morning, and it concerns the Johnny Appleseed Park. And I'll just read one paragraph. This was received from a West Side Mound Street resident. Over the past several weeks, equipment and heavy machinery have been stored in the park. Last Saturday, I realized that piles of concrete debris have been dumped in the park. Approximately half of the park's surface has been turned into a huge dirt pile. All grass has disappeared. The recently planted memorial tree is leaning over due to the dirt and mud being dragged by the moving of heavy equipment the storm sewer is plugged and water is accumulating on the road. I drove up this afternoon to take a look at that, and it appears that the necessary construction for burying the utility lines has used that as a staging ground, and it is going to take a complete and comprehensive restoration when this is all said and done. And I would say probably digging down as much as 6 inches to a foot because of the way all the gravel has settled. I promised the resident that I would share that with council tonight, and was reading that, the mayor nodded, so obviously administration is fully aware of that. Thank you, President McCary.
All right. Do we have any other communications or reports from council members? Member Sherwood.
Just very one quick one. I neglected to mention in one of our last meetings that as I've been doing the rounds, meeting with different city administration departments in my role as chair of the City and Safety Services Committee, I wanted to thank Gerald Balderson and his team, who were very good to welcome me to the headquarters of the Public Works and show me the extensive amount of planning and work that department does. It really is, the number of projects that they have going at any given moment is really quite astounding. I just want to thank him and his team for doing that.
Do we have any other communications or reports from council members? Moving on to other elected officials. Law Director?
No.
Treasurer? Mr. Mayor?
Just a couple items to share with council tonight. Thank you, Councilmember Swank. I saw several emails, so I'm in receipt of several emails of concerned citizens over Johnny Appleseed Park, which is right off of North Lancaster. The surety from the contractor is that the Johnny Appleseed Park will come back better than what it was received as when this uptown improvement project is completed, knock on wood. Not for the Appleseed Park. That'll be returned as found and better. The other thing, I mentioned this to council the last time I had a communication, and that was that there will be a open house for uptown businesses for the uptown improvement project. That date has changed. I believe when I was at council, I mentioned that it would be tomorrow evening or tomorrow. That has moved to May 19th. So that's when, for businesses and interested citizens with the Uptown Improvement Project, it will be on May 19th as opposed to when was earlier mentioned.
At what time, Mr. Mayor?
I don't know off the top of my head what the time is. I can get back to you and we can make sure that that gets out on the city's website with that particular meeting. But I know the date has changed. The other thing I want to share with council briefly is that the Ohio History Connection had reached out to us because there was an individual, quite famous, who came through Athens back in the early part of the 1900s, and that individual was Colonel Charles Young. He made a historic ride from Wilberforce, that part, Xenia area of Ohio, to prove a point in that he was highly capable of continuing to serve in the U.S. military, in the Army at the time, and he rode by horseback from there through Athens, and as we can tell, he spent an evening here in Athens, and then continued on his journey to Washington, D.C. to make a point before the War Department that he was certainly capable of continuing his service to the country. He was a colonel, as I'd mentioned, who was a black individual serving in the U.S. military. And so that all said, there is a historic marker that'll be going in either in front of City Hall or the curb bump out over by the parking garage, which does have a properly planted tree and properly soiled area over there in front of the parking garage, just to set the record straight on a previous communication that came before City Council, that the marker will go somewhere in that vicinity. So I will share more with council as to when that actually happens, because I would encourage council to attend that unveiling of this historic marker for a young black officer who quite courageously, to ride continuously from the Xenia area all the way to Washington, D.C. to make his point that he was still fit to serve in the U.S. military, and that we have the honor of hosting one of those markers here in the city of Athens. The last thing I want to share with council is I think you're well aware that we have had several individuals in the city of Athens. This is our due diligence of responding to the request of the citizens to manage our budget differently. And therefore, we have about 13 individuals who are retiring from the city of Athens in the month of May. We have several retirement ceremonies or parties or whatever you want to call them that are taking place in the month of May. So I'm proud of those who have worked for the city of Athens for as long as they have served and worked in the city of Athens. It's sad to see a lot of these individuals go, but we have a number of retirements taking place. And the very last thing I have to share is that tomorrow is election day here in the city of Athens, and encouraging the citizens of Athens to make sure you get out and vote for whatever is on the ballot that is of interest to you. And I would hope, most importantly, the city income tax increase is of value to you. And I am personally encouraging you, because I can, as an elected official, to vote in the affirmative to pass this income tax so that people continue to get the services that they have expected over the past many decades here in the city of Athens as we move forward with city operations.
Thank you.
President Kerry, thank you for letting me speak openly.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for that report. We'll now move on to ordinances for third reading. Ordinance 29-26, an ordinance authorizing the conveyance of a surplus city-owned parcel on Hudson Avenue to Community Building Partners, LLC, in furtherance of the Welcome Home Ohio grant program, and authorizing the mayor to execute all related documents and declaring an emergency, introduced by Councilmember Swank.
President McCary, I would move the council pass 29-26 this evening.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion?
This is the first step and the necessary step to begin a first tangible affordable housing project in the city on a small scale, 8 homes at the end of Hudson Street. And we have to do this first, and hopefully the other pieces of the domino begin to fall in place. So you see a shovel in the ground in 2026.
Do we have additional discussion from council members? Administration.
No, I just concur with everything that Councilmember Swank just said. This is a city project using state funding that we received, $2 million, is basically a diminishing returns revolving loan fund to build these homes here in the city of Athens. Desperately needed affordable housing, as Councilmember Swank indicated.
One thing I failed to mention, these are owner-occupied homes. Owner-occupied.
Do we have any comments or questions from members of the public on this ordinance? Seeing none, we'll move on to a vote. All in favor of adopting ordinance 29-26 indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say nay. All right, ordinance 29-26 has been passed. Next, we have ordinance 30-26, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a one-year agreement with Sunday Creek Horizons, a consulting firm, introduced by Councilmember Swank.
President McCary.
Yes.
I'm recusing myself from this one.
Thank you, Member Stazer, for letting us know that you're recusing yourself. And we'll now move to discussion from council members before moving on to the administration and the public.
I'll wait till he gets out of the room. President McCary, I would move that council pass 30-26 this evening.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion.
Members of council today received a couple of emails with some questions and concerns about this ordinance, and I'd like to address those briefly. The first was with the city's money situation right now, why would we be spending $120,000 on a consulting and lobbying firm? Essentially, the services they bring to the city are beyond the current scope of experience and expertise of members of our staff. If we were to hire for this position, it would take at least one, if not two people. And at today's going salary rates and benefits factored, it would be well more than the $120,000. The second part of that is these people, I shouldn't say these people, the crew at Sunday Creek Horizons has worked with the city on behalf of the city for several years and have established the necessary relationships with the people who can help with the city's funds as we have projects. But specifically, some of the things that they do is that they're very responsible in grant acquisition and grant administration. Sadly, when we lost former city planner Paul Logue, a great bit of institutional wealth, knowledge, and the ability to do these things left us. And it takes a while to bring someone up to speed to address that. Some of the projects they've taken care of are the armory. We had at least 5 or 6 different funding sources for that Sunday Creek Horizons was able to keep on the tracks and got it finished in a reasonable amount of time. And for anyone who's been in the armory, it was a job well done. They also were able to help secure the $300,000 we have once some additional money has been raised, and I will emphasize that, once some additional money has been raised for the pavilion that will go up on the city rec, the multi-purpose pavilion, which will be occupied a couple days a week by the farmers market, but also it will be a multi-purpose facility with many, many uses throughout the year. They also provide project oversight. This year, their major task in that regard is completing the city's disability plan, accessibility and disability plan. And they've assured us that that will be something that they can pull off and finally have that behind us. And the third thing is they lobby for us at the state level and also at the national level. A couple of the members of Sunday Creek Horizon are former elected officials and know the ins and outs of their way around, I won't say City Hall, but the State House. And they've already established and had a very, very good working relationship just this past week with both of the representatives that represent the county of Ohio and also our state senator on an economic development plan. So for those reasons, that's why I made the motion that we pass this tonight, and I think this would be a continuation of a contract that has served the city quite well for the last several years.
Thank you for getting us started on that discussion, Member Swank. Do we have any comments or questions from council members? Seeing none, we'll move on to the administration. Mr. Mayor, any comment on this ordinance?
No, just to echo everything that Councilmember Swank just mentioned. I would add to that the $2.5 million that the city received from the state for the fire training center at the end of Kenny Drive was also part of the work that Sunday Creek Horizons had done with us to be able to work their connections at the state level to acquire that funding or secure that funding for the city of Athens.
Thank you. Do we have any comment or questions from members of the public on Ordinance 30-26? Seeing none, we've had a motion and a sec. Oh, yes, we do. Please approach the podium, and there should be a sign-in sheet. We'd appreciate you letting us know who you are, if you're representing yourself or an organization, and you'll have 3 minutes to speak.
Okay. I'm just wanting to kind of raise awareness, I guess, about the lithium harvest that Sunday Creek Horizons has been involved with as well. Maybe that's just common knowledge, but I feel like maybe it isn't. I think that all needs to be on the table. From 2024, Sustainable Projects Group Incorporated, or the company, a green technology mining company focused on sustainable lithium projects in the United States, today announced that the company's wholly owned subsidiary, Lithium Harvest APS, has entered into a partnership agreement with Sunday Creek Horizons. Pursuant to the partnership agreement, Sunday Creek Horizons and Lithium Harvest will work together on securing financing and feedstock supply agreements for several lithium operations in the Ohio River Valley. Okay, so, I mean, I see that this agreement has something to do with EV charging stations, and this makes sense. And as we're moving toward localization in renewable energy, this kind of makes sense. But this is Appalachia, where extraction and mining has caused a lot of environmental racism and harm. So I'd like it to be out in the open what this organization is doing beyond the pretty things. That's it.
Thank you. Do we have any further comment or questions from members of the public on this ordinance? Seeing none, we've received a motion and a second, and we've had discussion. So we'll move on to a vote for ordinance 30-26. And if all council members who are in favor of this would say aye, I'll take your vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed indicate so by saying nay. All right, then with that, ordinance 30-26 has been adopted. Next, for third reading, we have we need to allow Member Stazer to come back in.
Yes, he's coming.
Okay, great, terrific. All right. We're now moving on to ordinance 31-26, an ordinance amending ordinance 16-26, authorizing the Service Safety Director to close streets in the uptown area for 2026 special events and to change requested dates or cancel the events as necessary, introduced by Member Clodfelder.
Thank you, President McCary. By way of a brief introduction, many people who attend these meetings normally or regularly know that we usually try to handle all of the proposed street closures related to community festivals at one time. And we get a whole bunch of them, we ask people to apply well in advance, and we just try to handle all of them at once, but it never works out that way. So we had previously received two proposed street closures for community festivals after that, and those were already in this as an amendment. But then last week, we got another one for an event in May 17th. So I say all that as an introduction to propose that we amend this ordinance 031-26, and I make a motion to that effect.
And before we take that vote, I need to recuse on this one, too.
Okay. Member Thomas is recusing herself, and Member Clodfelder,
Moving sidewalk here pretty soon.
Yeah,
Member Clodfelder has made a motion that we adopt ordinance 31.
that we amend.
Oh, that we amend ordinance 31-26. Do we have a second on the motion to amend?
Is that the amendment as outlined in the packet?
No, it's another one.
No, so there would be a May 16th and a May 17th event?
Yeah, which we'll get to if we amend. Yeah.
So what is the amendment?
Have I, just for clarification, have I heard a second?
No, we haven't had a
Okay.
second.
So you got to offer an amendment. What is the amendment?
I'm moving that we discuss the amendment. If someone would second it, then we'll discuss it.
That doesn't work.
Something
Yeah, you have to have a specific, yeah.
What do you want to?
I want to amend this to add another late submission for an event to be held on Sunday, May 17th, 2026, which will serve as the finale of the 2026 Porch Fest on the Near East side of Athens. This will be a finale taking place at Jackie O's Tap Room, and so the requested street closure is for the street in front of that establishment, between Stimson and that establishment, and a little bit on the street that goes parallel in front of that business, right in front of the establishment itself. So it's Grant and a little bit of Campbell.
Second. Second.
Okay.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Do we have discussion on the motion to amend? Okay, all in favor of amending as Member Clodfelder has described indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Okay, the ordinance 31-26 has been amended.
I now propose that we suspend the rules to approve this proposed amendment as well as the other two that are highlighted in red on this document that we were already considering, due to the fact that this event is scheduled for Sunday, May 17th, and we need to take care of it tonight, or it
Second.
won't get approved in time.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for suspending the rules. Any further discussion on suspension of the rules? All in favor of suspending the rules for ordinance 31-26 as described by Member Clodfelder say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. Okay, the rules have been suspended on ordinance 31-26.
Thank you. So again, just to be clear, what's being considered for approval tonight is the change in location for the Dora opening event on May 16th, which will now be held on West State Street from Congress to Court, and a previous addition that we got to have Athens host the International King Midget Jamboree Cruise-In on August 7th from Court Street from Union to Washington. And again, the King Midgets are cars that were manufactured in Athens from the 1940s to the 1970s. So I think there'll be some residents of Athens who'll be very happy to see those back. And then the one that we just got recently, that is tonight's amendment, again, would be the Porch Fest finale held on Sunday, May 17th at Jackie O's Tap Room. And that will come with a noise ordinance waiver. And that will be the street between Stimson Avenue and the tap room itself, and a little bit right in front of the tap room. And the schedule of the closure will begin at 3 p.m. on Sunday, May 17th, and conclude by 10 p.m. And the street can be reopened to traffic at 11 p.m. after cleanup of the event. So, with that being said, I move that we approve this ordinance 3126.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for approval of ordinance 31-26. Do we have any discussion? All right. Seeing no discussion from council, Mr. Mayor.
Just one point I wanted to make, and this occurred in the 2021-2022 timeframe, predating a lot of you on council. To Councilmember Clodfelter's point about how it's challenging for us to get all these street closings in one ordinance. It's far better than it was pre-2021, 2022, to where council was having to approve every single one of these on the fly throughout the year. And so that has changed, but you're correct. Even with the change to where we're trying to get that slate before council within the first month or so, and typically within the year before, to where we know what's going to be happening, we still do have some asks here and there, but it's far different than the way it used to be, to where council, you're able to approve an entire slate. So I think from a management standpoint for all of you, because you have the ability to control the public right-of-way, that this is much better than things were pre-2022, to where it was eating up a lot of time of council. So we've streamlined a lot of that, but we will, I'm sure, continue to see kind of these onesies, twosies come at us in the future, which is okay. It's so much more manageable for council than the way things were before.
Yeah.
So I appreciate council taking the large slate up and being flexible enough to recognize that we will see some of these that come forward in time with requests for street closings that don't get in under the timeline that we've set forward for approval to get to you as a slate.
Thank you, Mayor Patterson, and we also appreciate the efforts of Deputy Service Safety Director Andrew Chicky. We know does a lot of important behind-the-scenes work. Do we have any discussion on Ordinance 31-26 from the audience before we move on to our vote? Any public comment? All right, seeing none, we've had a motion and a second in discussion. All in favor of adopting Ordinance 31-26, say aye.
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 Any opposed, say nay. Ordinance 31-26 has been adopted. We now move on to Ordinance 32-26, as Councilmember Thomas rejoins us. And this is an ordinance authorizing the Service Safety Director to enter into an agreement with the Sustainable Ohio Public Energy Council, SOPEC, to receive electric vehicle charging stations and authorize their installation on public property, introduced by Councilmember Clodfelter.
So this proposed ordinance basically says that if SOPEC gets the grant funding they've applied for, that Athens is open to receiving electric car charging stations. And specifically, the administration has plans to place such electric car charging stations. They would like to have at least one more in the Athens City parking garage at 13 East Washington Street, in the parking spaces along Armory Street by the refurbished Armory, and in the parking lot at the Athens Fire Department headquarters at 120 East Stimson Avenue. So there's more wording here, but it basically means we will accept if they get the money and offer them to us. And I think that's a great idea because we need more EVs. And so I move that we approve ordinance 32-26.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have discussion? Member Swink.
I don't own an electric vehicle, and I'm just curious. I have two questions. I'm just curious. On the roadways in and around town, there are obviously signs that say gas, and then there are some that have a little D for diesel. Does that signage include electric vehicle charging stations?
It will.
Okay, good. That's a good answer, number one. Number two, and I had someone tell me about this, I would assume this new charging station in the garage will be where the current ones are. What would be the possibility of a driver knowing when they pull in the parking garage that indeed when they get up to that third level, one of those spots is open? Because I watched somebody the other day, and I can't repeat what they said, when they got up there and there was no spot available for them.
Yeah, if I may.
Yes.
Thanks, Councilman Swank. You know, I'm going to take you guys in the Wayback Machine just for a second. You know, the charging station spots is what I'll call them in the parking garage. You know, those were early adoption to where when we received our Nissan Leafs, plural, for the code enforcement office, we were given by the program, they were charging stations. They were basically a level 2. We were able to put them wherever we wanted to, and so we located them in the parking garage because it made a lot of sense. And the individuals would pay just the basic meter rate that exists, yet they're plugging in and the added benefit of being able to charge their vehicles. With these, instead, my memory serves me correctly, the app associated with these charging stations will indicate what charging stations are currently open for charging. That would include the Armory Drive or Armory Street charging station and the fire station headquarters fast charge charging stations as well. And I'll just kind of put a full stop there with those. We currently do have charging stations, as I think most people recognize, down at the city swimming pool, outside the swimming pool, which were from ChargePoint, and we were able to put those in. We've had them there for quite some time. Those were our first ones. And I don't recall whether they have an indicator as to whether that is currently being used or not, but with the technologies that are out there these days, they typically is part of the package for the charging stations to have that indicator as well as to what's being charged or what's being used versus what isn't being used, what's available. You know, my plan for the the city plan for the parking garage would be to have some charge ports, you know, on all floors of the parking garage ultimately, which would expand that particular service as we do see more and more EV drivers, you know, people who want to purchase an EV, which makes a lot of sense when you look at the price of gas these days. Go figure. So more to come on what things will look like at the parking garage, but I appreciate the question because if my memory serves me correctly, that there will be that component within these newer charging stations here in the city of Athens.
Thank you.
We'll go back to the mayor for an opportunity for further comment in a second, but do we have any further discussion from council members? Mr. Mayor.
You know, I'm just going to say, number one, hopefully, council, you pass this. Number two, over the past 10 years, we have made such a concerted effort to become a more resilient community, to where we've got started with our microgrid down at the water treatment plant. If everyone remembers the derecho that impacted the city of Athens in 2012, I remember it well. My daughters were all of 4 months old, and we had no power to store milk in our house, which was a train wreck. Regardless of that, to get to work and create a microgrid down at our most valued asset, in my opinion, which is your water supply of clean, fresh, pure drinking water, to have that microgrid down there to help offset future issues, then to have the 2.1 megawatt solar array down at the community center to armor both our wastewater treatment plant, but our community center and our seasonal swimming pool, and 3 other municipal accounts, to the armory having solar on the rooftop, and the community, or the fire station headquarters having both geothermal and solar at that asset. And now for something like this, to provide service to people who are visiting, or for our own citizens if they feel like they have to hop on something and get a quick charge here in the city of Athens, quite honestly, is the most responsible environmental thing that we as a community can do for the citizens who live in this community and those who don't. You know, to recognize that we're doing everything we possibly can. I will also say this, because I think this is important to remind individuals. We had a greenhouse gas inventory that was done in 2019 showing that our carbon emissions per capita in the city of Athens were the lowest in the state. We beat everybody by a long shot when it came to carbon emissions per capita. We are also in the top 10% of this nation. The nation's average is 20.2 tons per capita. The city of Athens is 5 plus. 5 plus. We are chasing Tacoma, Washington for that #1 spot. And I think that with the 2.1 megawatt solar array, with things like EV charging stations throughout the city, and continuing to start looking and exploring other things like repurposing our former landfill, which is 26 acres, to become a solar farm in the future, and use that as another asset for the city, and also kind of rethinking some other things in the city, continuing to push the envelope on a city that has a population of 25,072 people who live here in the city of Athens. To do this kind of work becomes a model for other cities that are mid-sized, and in particular, a city that's in rural America, and in our case, in Appalachian rural America, to have something like this. So I'm sorry I got on my soapbox. I just had to do that because this means a lot, not to me. I look at our youth in the future. I look at those who are going to be leading the city of Athens in the future. And if we're not doing our part to make sure we're leaving a better environment for the next generation of local leaders, then we're failing. And I think we're doing a pretty darn, don't believe me on that, a pretty good job at doing that in the city of Athens, and want to continue to do that. So again, this is just one more example for doing the right thing for our community and the right thing for the environment and the next generation.
Thank you, Mayor Patterson. Any comment from the public? We've had a motion and a second and discussion on ordinance 32-26, so we'll now move on to a vote. All council members in favor of adopting ordinance 32-26, please indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. All right, ordinance 32-26 has been adopted. Next for third reading, ordinance 33-26, an ordinance amending the 2026 appropriation ordinance 120-25 to reconcile federal and state pass-through payments, introduced by Councilmember Thomas.
Thank you. This is, as a reminder, just reappropriating funds for state and federal pass-through payments from 2025 that did not get processed by the end of the year. And I would move that we adopt 33-26.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion from council members. Any comment or questions from Mayor Patterson? Members of the public? We've had a motion and a second and opportunity for discussion on ordinance 33-26, so we'll now move to a vote. All council members in favor of adopting ordinance 33-26 say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. Ordinance 33-26 has been adopted. Next for third reading, ordinance 34-26, an ordinance amending ordinance 121-25, authorizing 2026 staffing levels, introduced by the Finance and Personnel Committee.
Thank you. This ordinance reduces the staffing level of the environmental coordinator, and we are now going to put that out for professional services to the Athens Soil and Water District, and we just need to amend our staffing ordinance to reflect that. and I would move that we adopt 34-26.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion from council members? From members of the administration, Mayor, Treasurer, I should have asked if you had anything to share, and anyone in the audience. Any questions or comments on this ordinance? Seeing none, we've had a motion and a second, so we will move to a vote on ordinance 34-26. All council members in favor of adopting ordinance 34-26 say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Ordinance 34-26 has been adopted. Next for third reading, ordinance 35-26, an ordinance amending the 2026 appropriation ordinance 120-25, introduced by Councilmember Thomas.
Thank you. In this one, we are just appropriating $8,500 to General Fund Fire for thermal imaging equipment grant. And then we're decreasing the water fund personnel, sewer fund personnel, and storm sewer plant personnel, each by $25,000 in the transaction class 100, and increasing the transaction class 300 to professional services for all three of those plants for the environmental coordinator position. And I would move that we adopt 35-26.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion from members of council? Mayor Patterson.
Just to share the money that's coming out of each one of those departments that was just mentioned by Councilmember Thomas. Again, it's because all of those departments fed into supporting the staffing for that position in the city of Athens. So therefore, since we're not going to have, since we're transitioning to the health department, then it's reallocating to make sure we can support that. And we will continue. We're mandated to have that by EPA, to have a coordinator. And so the health department has decided that they are more than willing to step in and fill that position and continue to work with the city.
Anything to add, Treasurer? Members of the public? We've had a motion and a second and discussion on ordinance 35-26, so we'll now move to a vote. All council members in favor of adopting ordinance 35-26, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say nay. Ordinance 35-26 has been adopted. Next, for third reading, we have ordinance 38-26, an ordinance authorizing the purchase of a replacement dump truck for the sewer department and disposal of the current dump truck, introduced by Councilmember Isherwood.
This is exactly what the ordinance says. We are purchasing a new dump truck for the sewer department. They need this for critical work that department does, and we are disposing of the current dump truck. And this is authorized, the city's already identified what they want to do with this, and this is authorizing them to go and get the deal done.
Thank you, Member
So I
Isherwood.
move that we pass 38-26.
Second.
Ooh, let's give it to Member Swink. Okay. All right, we had a motion and a second, and now we'll move on to discussion. Any comments from Member Klopfelder?
Chairman Isherwood, do I remember correctly that the city is actually pursuing a used dump truck?
That's my understanding, that they have identified that there is a system under which cities can access vehicles and equipment like this, that the City Safety Services Director has, I believe, identified the truck that they want. And as you can see in the ordinance, we have identified the 2007, so this is a dump truck from 2007 that we will be disposing of. So this is a truck that's given good service to the city of Athens, but it's time to let it go. And my understanding from talking to the City Safety Service Director, they're very pleased with the one that they have identified. I think it's a very good condition piece of equipment. I'm very happy with it.
Thank you.
Thank you for that question, Member Klopfelder. Do we have any other discussion from council members? Mayor Patterson. Members of the public. All right. We've had a motion and a second, an opportunity for discussion. We'll now move to a vote on ordinance 38-26. All council members in favor of adopting ordinance 38-26, please indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Ordinance 38-26 has been adopted. Next, for third reading, ordinance 39-26, an ordinance authorizing a contract with the Washington County Commissioners and declaring an emergency, introduced by Councilmember Isherwood.
This is an ordinance that we do each year. This allows for the city, in the event that we do not have room within the city's own facilities to house prisoners, that there would be a standing understanding with Washington County to use their facilities to house prisoners if it was ever needed. This is my understanding is not this is a backup, it's a safety issue. It is not one that we typically have ever needed to utilize, but it is important to have this in place. It's good forward planning if in the event that an incident was to happen in the city and the city administration or the Athens Police Department was to need the housing of prisoners, that we have this in place beforehand. And so I would move that we pass 39-26.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Now an opportunity for discussion by council members. Mayor Patterson. Members of the public. We've had a motion and a second, an opportunity for discussion. All council members in favor of adopting ordinance 39-26, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say nay. Ordinance 39-26 has been adopted. We now move on to ordinances for second reading. Ordinance 40-26, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to make application and enter into a project agreement with the Ohio Department of Natural Resources, introduced by Councilmember Wood. Ordinance 42-26, an ordinance amending the 2026 appropriation ordinance 120-25, introduced by Councilmember Thomas. We now move on to ordinances for first reading. Ordinance 44-26, an ordinance amending Athens City Code Title III, Administrative Provisions, Section 3.07.50, Establishment of the Athens Municipal Arts Commission, introduced by Councilmember Isherwood.
So this came out of our City and Safety Services Committee last week. We've had a number of discussions about this. This is about amending the number of members who can serve on the Athens Municipal Arts Commission. And as you may have noticed over the past several years, we have seen a huge influx of the amount of public art in the city, which I think is a huge benefit to the community. And so this commission would like to be able to expand their membership. It's expanding it from 7 to 9 members, and having that 5 of those members shall be electors of the city, and 4 members may reside outside the corporate limits, but within Athens County. I move that we pass -4426. Or
This is reading.
First
for
reading.
first reading, of course, yeah. I'm getting carried away.
So, it's been read for the first time. Do we have discussion? Member Swink.
Didn't think about this last week. 5 members of the commission shall be electors of the city, and 4 members may reside outside the corporate limits. Can we have 6 members who live in the city and 3 that live outside if we can't find 4?
Member Clodfelder.
I'm the city council member on that commission, and that was discussed in the last meeting, and the consensus in the room was that they wanted it to be 5 and 4. But that is a may. I mean, it could happen sometime that 6 would be from the city and only 3 from the county. But they wanted to have, I think they had some people in mind from the county, so they want 4 spots for the county.
Yeah, 4 available, but not mandating 4.
But not mandated.
Okay, good. That was my question. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
I believe there's also additional comment from Member
Because it's
Schwinn.
5 members shall be, is that not like saying 5 have to be, as opposed to, it's not saying a minimum of 5 shall be. So my reading of that is that 5 have to be electors of the city.
And only 5.
Huh?
And only 5?
I mean, I don't have strong views on this. I think the goal is that to limit it to 4 members from being outside of the city. I defer to you. You're actually on the commission with the sense of the commission.
We could certainly tweak the wording. My understanding from being in the last meeting and listening to the people who've been members of that commission much longer than I have was that it wasn't meant to be an only.
Okay.
It would be 5 or more could be from the city. But I think the 4 from the county was kind of a hard limit. So it could be 6 and 3, it could be 7 and 2, but it couldn't be, 5 from the county and 4 from the city, if that makes sense.
We'll move to Member Thomas and then to Mayor Patterson.
Having listened to this discussion for the last year, I think they just want the option to be able to have 4.
Yeah.
They're not saying they have to, but they want to be able to, if they have 4 people that live outside the city, they want to be able to use those people. Yeah.
Thank you, Mayor Patterson.
The friendly suggestion to council, and I'm fine with this because I'm the one who ultimately asks council to approve appointees to AMAC, is to change the shall to a may. May gives a lot more flexibility moving forward in time. It still achieves or accomplishes the same goal at the end of the day, and that is to have 9 individuals serving on AMAC because of the load that they have. So as I was reading, because I'm going to lean on the law director for a moment, there is a significant difference between shall and may. Shall means that it's going to be 5 and it's going to be 4, versus may, meaning that it's 9 individuals. Now, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm seeing a head shake from the clerk of council.
Do we have a response from Member Swink on that?
What if we said this? At least 5 members of the commission shall be electors of the city, and 4 members may reside outside.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Oh my gosh.
I would entertain a motion to amend, Member Swink.
I would move that we add the words "at least" before 5.
We have a motion to amend, as Member Swink just described. We have a second to amend.
Second.
Our Member Klopfelder has offered a second. Any discussion on the proposed amendment? Mayor Patterson.
I used to be a member. I'd still like to get a comment from the law director on the significance, the difference between may and shall, or must. And I know must isn't in here. But
I think, well, shall's mandatory. Obviously, may leaves it open. I think, though, at least 5 members of the commission shall be electors of the city and 4 members may reside outside. Probably fixes it.
and that's fine. I'm fine with at least. I think that's wise, counsel. So.
We have a motion and a second to amend. We've had some discussion with input from the law director. Do we have any further discussion on the proposed amendment? Okay, all council members in favor of the amendment, please indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. All right, the ordinance has been amended and read for the first time. All right. Thank you very much for the hard work and diligent, persistent effort of the Athens Municipal Arts Commission, and thank you, Member Klopfelder, for continuing to support them. That concludes our ordinances for first reading this evening, which means we can move on to announcements and other business. Any announcements from council members? Member Swank.
We have at least 2 members of city council who are small business owners. And I'm pretty sure that back when they decided to do this, they wondered, how long will this last? And they got through that first year, sigh of relief, can we make it through 2? And then they hit 5, and then they hit 10. Some have hit 25. Well, we have one business in this town that on May 8th, this Friday, will celebrate their 100th year of continuous operation. And that is the former Dwight Rutherford Insurance Company, which is now Athens Insurance Company. And I think that is a noteworthy accomplishment for a business to be able to thrive, to employ people, to support the community through taxes for that many years. So if you happen to be in that area over on, I've drawn a blank, Richland Avenue, stop in, say hi on May the 8th, and congratulate them on 100 years of continuous business.
Thank you, Member Swank. Other announcements, Member Klopfelder.
I would just like to point out the street closures that City Council has approved for community festivals that are coming up in about 2 weeks, a little less than 2 weeks here in town. One is the brand new one that we approved tonight, which is a grand finale of Porch Fest that will be held at Jackie O's Tap Room on Sunday, May 17th, from 3 to 10. And rumor has it that the Wild Honeybees are on the list of bands that will be playing at that finale. And also the day before, on Saturday, May 16th, will be the Dora opening event on Court Street from Washington to State Street. And I will further go on and mention that Porch Fest this year is going to be on Saturday, May 16th on the west side of town. There will be activities related to Porch Fest going on uptown on that Saturday evening, May the 16th, including some busking, as I understand it. And then on Sunday the 17th, there will be what has become the really great northeast or near east side Porch Fest, and that'll be the third year for that, the first year for the other components on Saturday. So there'll be a lot of opportunities to hear good, free music, and people only ask for donations to the bands.
Thank you, Member Clodfelder. Of course, it's quite a season of celebration, and on behalf of all of council, I would like to congratulate all of our Ohio University graduates who just enjoyed commencement this past weekend or will do so in the very near future. Do we have any other announcements from council members? Mayor Patterson.
A few. I know that our city planner, Megan Jennings, has put together basically a city map with all the projects that are going to be going on this summer. Council may have seen that already. It's not just City of Athens projects. A lot of these are utility projects. As an example, AEP has had, over the past week or two, Dairy Lane closed off because of pole placement and putting replacement lines throughout that corridor. The Stimson Avenue project will be buttoning up shortly, within the next month. That project will be done. A lot of the heavy equipment has been removed from Stimson Avenue. The walkway is now opened again because they were doing a lot of paint removal and repainting the steel work underneath that bridge. Soon to put the railing up and to also put the undercarriage lighting in place. The 682-56 roundabout is still, as we all know, is still well underway and will be until November. Weather permitting, of course, but there are other projects that are going to lead to that are either utility projects not in city control, although we're notified when AEP or Columbia Gas or whoever is putting in work. There's OU properties that are being improved. Starting today, Stewart Street was closed down for the Chaddock Morrow art space venue building that's going in down there near Playground and Koss off of Stewart and Mill. The city will be doing, continuing on with the deep well has already been dug. A lot of people have asked what's the big project going on Richland Avenue south of the bridge. That is our new lift station that is going in down there. But once that's done, we've got some other deep digs because that's a really deep sewer line through that area that's going to be happening. So we're going to see some more street closures as we get into July. So I'm just sharing all that. There is a map that's been put together by the city planner. If it hasn't gone live already, it will be going live. That basically says the time frame and the projects going in the city of Athens, because you're going to, unfortunately, because of not just city projects, but because of public utility projects out there by AEP or Columbia Gas or whomever, that are going to lead to certainly some disruptions in the city of Athens. They will be short-lived, but they will be there. So we're going to continue to make sure that everyone is well informed as to what the detour routes are for these projects. This summer, unfortunately, has become kind of the summer to where the city projects, while there are some, they're almost pale in comparison to these other projects that are going on. The other project that's well underway is Columbus Road, that some of you are well aware of, is that shared use path that is going in down in Columbus Road, and that is to accommodate a lot of the business development that's going on in that corridor and future developments that'll go on that corridor. So more to come as we get this information out to you, but just know we recognize that disruptions impact people's daily lives. And so we're going to be doing the best we can to keep everything on track, on time, and keep the public well informed as to where the traffic routes will be through the city of Athens.
Thank you, Mayor Patterson. Member Swink.
On that topic, Mr. Mayor, if you're at Stimson Avenue and you're going to go to Kroger, and you're going to go out Stimson Avenue, across the bridge, and on that roundabout, there's a sign that just went up that says, on May 11th and for 16 days, something's going to be closed. Is it the exit that you would take off the roundabout to go to Kroger, or is it the next one that you would take to go to Belpre?
Councilmember Swank, I do not have the answer to you at this moment in time on that, but I can get you the answer.
Because if it's the one that you would take to go to Kroger, it will have significant impact on traffic on the Near East Side.
Yeah. Councilmember Swank, I will make sure that Director Stone gets me that information and gets that to you. Off the top of my head, I do not recall.
Because it'll be for 16 days.
Yeah.
And if it is the Near East Side, it would have a tremendous impact on the Porch Fest activities.
Okay. Let me find out.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other announcements from council members? All right, we'll now move on to opportunity for citizens to speak on legislative items and city services not covered on tonight's agenda. So anyone who's come this evening who has something to share may approach the podium, and there's a sign-in sheet, but we'd appreciate you letting us know who you are, your residence, and whether you are representing yourself or an organization, and then you'll have 3 minutes to share your thoughts.
Mary Abel, Strathmore Boulevard, representing myself. I want to say thank you. Thank you very much to all those people, and especially to Rumpke, who were responsible for cleaning up Athens Sunday after graduation. It was a delight to drive down Mill Street, Congress, East State Street, and not see mounds of trash yesterday afternoon and today. It makes such a huge difference for people coming into this town not to see that after graduation. And I just think they did a yeoman's job. They were out there with several trucks working, and I just want to say thank you, because living here, we just appreciate our town looking good. So thanks.
Thank you so much for that. Do we have other members of the public who'd like to speak this evening? All right, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, all in favor of adjourning, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. We are adjourned at 8:03 p.m.